Ghost by the Window, a mysterious beginning. Late at night, in an old house outside the town, Nguyễn Lan moved in with her family. The house was big and quiet, surrounded by thick trees and a dark garden. Lan always felt something strange about this place, but since it was her new home, she tried to ignore her uneasiness. One night, while reading a book in bed, she heard a strange noise outside her bedroom window. It sounded like the wind passing through the cracks, but there was an unsettling feeling along with it. She walked to the window, opened it slightly, but saw nothing, only the silent night and trees swaying in the wind. A cold sensation ran through her, making her shiver. The next evening, when Lan came home from school, she noticed something strange again. The light from the electric bulb reflected in the window, but she saw a faint shadow standing there. It was blurry, like a ghostly figure passing by. She blinked, and the shadow disappeared immediately. Thinking it was just her tired eyes playing tricks, she tried to brush off the eerie feeling. The strange feeling grows. Lan slowly got used to life in the new house, but something always made her feel uneasy. The house was too quiet. Sometimes she felt like someone was standing behind her, but every time she turned around, there was nothing. One evening after dinner, Lan sat at her desk to study. The clock struck 10 p.m. The only light in the room was the warm glow of her desk lamp. As she wrote, a sudden chill ran down her spine. A soft breeze slipped through the window, except the window was shut tight. She shivered but continued studying, though she had the strange feeling of being watched. Slowly, she lifted her head and looked toward the window. Under the dim moonlight, she saw a faint handprint on the glass. Her heart pounded. At first, she thought someone in the house had left it there. But when she looked closer, she realized the handprint was on the outside of the window, an impossible place because her room was on the second floor. Fear crept into her mind. Swallowing nervously, she stepped forward and touched the print. It didn't disappear. It felt like there was a thin layer of dust covering it, but her touch didn't erase it. Suddenly, a strong wind howled outside, making the window shake violently. Lan jumped back, feeling an icy air rush into her room. That night, she lay in bed, unable to sleep. In the darkness, the wind outside whispered like someone murmuring softly. She pulled the blanket over her head, trying to ignore the eerie sensation crawling over her skin, the frightening signs. One day, while cleaning her room, Lan decided to open the window for fresh air. As she pulled back the curtain, she froze. The handprint from the night before had faded, but now a new, larger, and clearer one had appeared. It looked as if someone had deliberately pressed their hand against the glass. Her heart raced. She ran downstairs to ask her mother if anyone had cleaned her window, but her mother shook her head, saying no one had entered her room. That evening, while her family was watching TV together, Lan heard a soft knocking sound from her bedroom window upstairs. The sound was faint, like someone tapping lightly on the glass. She tried to ignore it, but it kept repeating. Finally, she decided to check. As she pushed open the door to her room, she shivered. The air inside was much colder than in the hallway. A damp, musty smell lingered, even though she had aired out the room earlier. She tiptoed toward the window and peered outside, nothing but the dark night and swaying tree branches. But when she turned back, she saw something reflected in the glass. A shadowy figure standing right behind her. Her heart nearly stopped. She screamed and bolted out of the room, almost tripping as she rushed downstairs. Her family turned to her in shock. Gasping for breath, she stammered out what she had seen. But her father simply shook his head and said, "Maybe you're just imagining things because you're tired. That window faces the garden. It could be just tree shadows." Lan didn't know what to say. She wanted to believe it was just light and shadows, but deep inside, she knew something was wrong with this house. The ghost appears. One night, after everyone had gone to sleep, Lan woke up feeling someone standing beside her bed. She opened her eyes and saw a shadowy figure near the window. The moonlight cast a pale glow, making the figure appear hazy. She couldn't see its face, but she could feel the cold presence. Suddenly, the figure moved toward the window and vanished as soon as she screamed. Her family woke up, but no one else saw the ghost. When she told them what happened, they dismissed it as a bad dream. But Lan knew she had seen something real. The house's dark past. Unable to bear the fear any longer, Lan visited her grandmother, who had lived in the town for years. Her grandmother told her a chilling story about the house. It once belonged to a wealthy family, but after a mysterious murder, the entire family was killed inside the house. Since then, the house had been abandoned and was rumored to be cursed. The ghost Lan saw was likely the spirit of someone who had died unjustly. Her grandmother's words sent chills down her spine. She never imagined the house had such a dark history. The night of decision. Determined to find out the truth, Lan decided to confront the ghost. One night, she stood by the window, staring outside, waiting for it to appear. At midnight, she felt an unnatural chill. Suddenly, the ghost appeared again, clearer this time, with a sorrowful, distorted face. The ghost reached out toward Lan. Terrified, she stepped back. But before it could touch her, a strong wind swept through, making the ghost fade away. Her body felt frozen with fear, but she knew she had to help the trapped soul. The final confrontation. Lan sought help from a well-known fortune teller in the village. He told her that to free the spirit, she had to find a missing object, a golden ring buried under the house. After finding the ring, Lan performed a ritual in the center of her room. As she recited the prayer, the ghost appeared one last time. This time, it was no longer terrifying, but looked like a beautiful woman with sorrowful eyes. The ghost bowed and whispered a "thank you" before disappearing forever. Peace returns. From that night on, the house was peaceful again. Lan no longer felt strange presences or heard eerie noises. She had freed the spirit, and the house was finally at rest. Though the memories of the haunting would always stay with her, she knew that sometimes the past could never be completely erased. But at least now she could live in the house without fear.